Hi guys, welcome back to Geeks Wargaming and welcome to our latest 40k battle report. Quite a special battle report today as well because John, with his little smile on his face, is using the new Astra Militarum Codex and cards. So looking forward to this. I want to see what changes they've made to these in their new Codex. It's looking quite interesting actually. These especially. So your orders that Imperial Guard get
automatically now, by the way, as well.
Yeah, automatically. They no longer have to roll dice and can dish them out like sweets. Pretty much, that's right, isn't it?
A little bit more flexible, yeah, guaranteed. And I draw my regiment from Cadia, so one of the cool things that has is a warlord trait that allows you to spill orders onto nearby units as well. So yeah, those orders could be quite key.
Poor Cadia. Let's all take a minute to remember the fallen planet that is Cadia. Let's not bother. Yeah, so they're taking on my Space Wolves. We are doing the Scouring mission, so 6 objectives down, each worth 3 victory points. We're doing Dawn of War Deployment as well, so it should be a good fun game actually. I'm looking forward to it. I'm running my Space Wolves slightly differently. After the kicking that my Space Wolves took in Gibraltar, they are lucky they're not in the bin. But no Wolfen. I'm taking Terminators. I'm just mixing up a little bit as well. I'm going to try my Long Fangs as well. I've not really tried them before in 8th edition, so I'm looking forward to getting them out. John, you haven't gone too tank heavy.
No, big changes for me as well, actually. Not too tank heavy. I've always liked the idea of Guard basically being mobile infantry and running around in primarily Chimeras and hopping out. And that's a tactic that just wasn't viable in 7th at all because Chimeras were just 3 victory points, basically.
They were.
But given how 8th seems to be panning out for vehicles, I'm actually throwing in dedicated transports to all of my infantry squads. So yeah, more vehicles, but different vehicles as well. Not too many Lehman Russ this time. So yeah, quite some significant changes.
And you're taking Pask as well?
I am. Now, I've always toyed with taking Pask, but he does look a little bit more interesting in this edition, and his ability to dish out orders a little bit more streamlined, and having some new orders as well, has made me quite motivated to take Pask as a bit of an experiment. So I'm going to put him in Lehman Russ with a Punisher cannon on it. Just taking advantage of the high ballistic skill, really. Just chucking potentially 40 dice out there. If he's still or doesn't move too far, that's 40 dice being chucked out, hitting on 2.
It's a lot of hit. It's a lot of dice being thrown out. And I faced Pask before, and I actually came back from Gibraltar where I faced him, and I said to John, you need to take Pask. So I'm glad you've listened. Well done.
I wasn't listening to you.
No, you wasn't.
I was listening to the internet. I wasn't listening to you.
So I faced Nathan Shaggy over in Gibraltar, and he had an Imperial Guard army, and he decimated my Space Wolves. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, admittedly, he had a lot more Medusans and whatever the big rockety
Manticles,
possibly them, and some nasty tanks, basilisks as well. Basilisks are good.
How many basilisks?
You need to get some basilisks. But let's go and take a look at the armies.
So here is my 1500 points worth of Astra Militarum Imperial Guard, and my warlord for this game is going to be Commander Pask, and I've put him in a Lehman Russ Punisher with 1 hull-mounted heavy bolter and then 2 heavy bolter sponsons. And you can see it's a very mechanised list. So what we've got here is 4 Chimera. Over here we've got our platoon command squad. We've got platoon commander, we've got a plasma gun embedded in there, plus a Voxcaster. I'm going to shove the Commissar into that squad as well, and she has got a power sword and a bolt pistol. And then over the back we've got essentially then 3 squads that are all exactly the same. So they're all Chimeras. They've all got 10 men with a melt gun and a Voxcaster embedded into each of those. So here's the other ones as well over here. You can see they're very much equipped for desert warfare. So the Chimeras have got all the things they might need for the desert here, like sand tracks and dozer blades and extra bits of kit and stuff on them. Then in the heavy support element, what we've got is 3 Lehman Russ that, again, pretty much identical. So we've got battle cannons, we've got various different combinations of heavy bolters and las cannons on the hulls of these vehicles. So yeah, maybe not as mechanised in terms of Lehman Russ, but I'm bringing back Chimeras as a transport option, and I think it's going to work out well for me.
Here's the Space Wolf 2000 points running a battalion detachment. Into HQ and Warlord we have Ulrich the Slayer coming as standard. Next HQ choice we also have my Iron Priest on his Thunderwolf mount with a Thunderhammer and Hellfrost pistol. Into troops we've got a 5-man Grey Hunter squad second 5-man Grey Hunter squad, and a 3rd-man Grey Hunter squad. Dedicated transport of a Rhino. Heavy support choice, we've got a Land Raider equipped with las cannons and heavy bolters. We also have my Long Fang, so in here there's 2 las cannons, heavy bolter, a missile launcher, and a plasma gun. Into elites, I'm taking my Wolfguard Terminators, 2 Storm Shields and Thunder Hammers in here, and then the other 3 guys have Wolf Claws. And then finally, we have a Dreadnought with a Hellfrost cannon. One thing that I forgot to mention was my Fenrisian Wolves, which are coming out to play today. The armies and the objectives are all down on the battlefield. Space Wolves across their lines. Long Fangs hunkered down up on top of one of the rocky outcrops. We now have the Iron Priest behind the Fenrisian Wolves just to give him a little bit of cover. Land Raider ready to make his way up the battlefield. Tactical Squad ready to jump up in between the rocks to grab hold of that objective, and on the left hand flank a Rhino and the Dreadnought. So the 6 objective markers now spread out all the way across this battlefield. The Imperial Guard, we have the Leman Russ and a Chimera here ready to move up. Bit of a car park going on. 2 Chimeras, no, 3 Chimeras and another Leman Russ, all hunkered down in the middle of the battlefield. We have Pask, and then we also have another Demolisher as well. So a little bit clustered in the middle, and then thin on the outer flanks. So the Astra Militarum were the first to finish deployment. So Jonathan gets +1 to his dice roll. Come on then, John, let's see who goes first. I get a 2, and John gets a 5. So John will be going first. Now I have 6 command points, so I am now going to try and seize the initiative, which I don't. Now, do I want to spend a command point and re-roll that dice? No, I'm not going to.
So my Leman Russ over on the left hand flank here has moved 5 inches up, so I'm going to take advantage of the grinding advance special rule there. So if you're not familiar with that, basically as long as they move half of their possible movement, then the turret weapon has the opportunity to fire twice, and they're going to be chucking those shots over at the Land Raider that's just over there. The Chimera right behind it is shuffled up as well, just to move in towards that objective and also take advantage of the cover that's there. These guys are staying put for the time being. Now, I do have a platoon commander in that Chimera right there, the plain one, but he can't issue orders from inside the vehicle. There is a stratagem that allows him to have a command vehicle, but I don't need to issue any orders right now, so he's going to stay put. Over here we have some more exciting news on the orders. So Pask has moved forward again 5 inches, and so have the 2 Leman Russ either side of him as well. Now I'm drawing my guard regiment from Cadia, and they have the opportunity on a 4+ to issue a second order to another unit within 6 inches. So what I've done is I initially put Gunner's Kill on sight to this Leman Russ here, and then on a 4+, which I've rolled successfully, then this vehicle is also going to take that order as well. So both of those will be re-rolling any 1s when they try to hit. So that's quite a nice little tank order there. Pretty handy, and being from Cadia gives that a nice little bonus as well. So we're going to see how that pans out in the shooting phase. So the Leman Russ fired at the Land Raider over here and has knocked off a couple of wounds as a result. It's quite nice being able to fire the battle cannon twice. That is really neat. So the Chimera had a line of sight through the rocks there at the Fenrisian Wolves, and he did quite a lot of damage there, killed a couple of them. And then his wingman in the Chimera at the back there had the opportunity to fire as well and basically finished off that unit. So that's first blood, which is cool. Then the Chimera that's next to it on the left up against the rock face, that didn't have the opportunity to fire at the Fenris Wolves, couldn't see them, but fired through that gap there that, believe me, does exist down here to the Long Fangs, but didn't do any damage to the Long Fangs. So Pask fired the Punisher cannon twice at the Rhino that's just up there, and it's down to 2 wounds as a result. So chucking down 40 dice, even only at strength 4, is pretty neat. You are going to take a lot of damage as a result. And it also uses heavy bolters as well, just for good measure. And then the two vehicles on either side of it, that Lehman Russ on the left as you're looking at it, that also fired at the Rhino as well. I can't remember how many damage it did, but overall you can see it's just down to 2. The one next to it, there is, believe it or not, again, a line of sight straight through the middle of that rock face up to the Land Raider. So again, chucking that battle cannon in twice, firing the las cannon, firing the heavy bolters as well. That Land Raider is now down to 11 wounds, so it's lost a couple, which is quite nice. I do love being able to fire the battle cannon twice. It is a really neat little addition to the guard.
The Space Wolves are now heading up the battlefield. Longfangs have stayed still. The las cannons here, looking at destroying one of the tanks up here. We also have the las cannon fire from the Land Raider, which has moved up. The Iron Priest has gone alongside him as well, looking at shooting into probably the Lehman Russ, I'd have thought. Tactical squad down here have just got themselves into cover to get the benefits of that, holding on to that objective. Rhino, yeah, a little bit difficult. It can only move 3 inches this turn. I don't really want to get the guys out, so they'll stay inside for one more turn. Dreadnought has moved around. It's got a clear line of sight with its Hellfrost cannon at the side of that Lehman Russ as well. So let's do some shooting. So hopefully we'll at least have one dead tank. The Hellfrost cannon from the Dreadnought on focus mode fired at the Lehman Russ down here. Completely missed. The Longfangs, all of them shot their guns at the Lehman Russ down here. Wow, these Longfangs. Las cannons hit. Well, actually, yes, the las cannons hit. And then they did 10 wounds. 10 wounds. So it was only left with a couple. I fired a crack missile at it. I hit a wounded. And then I rolled a 4. It had 2 wounds left. Boom. It blew up. Jonathan then spent a command point to make it unblow up. So it didn't go. And then the Chimera down here that was left, the heavy bolter shot at it, taking off, I think it was like 1 or 2 wounds. Las cannons shot into it, taking off 7. So it's only got 2 wounds remaining. Hellfrost pistol just out of range. Heavy bolt from the Land Raider opened up at the same target as well. So we've got 1 dead tank. We've got 1 tank that's very damaged. So we're starting to whittle them down a little bit. We have got to go into combat. That's where we need to be.
A battered Chimera there backing up as far as it can, which wasn't very much. It was only a couple of inches. I've also piled out the squad that's inside, and they're making their way through that little terrain piece there, just trying to get the melt gun up in front of the Land Raider, really, more than anything else.
That's just rude.
Yeah, but it's going to hurt, hopefully. What I've also done as well, because I'm a little bit mean, is I've hopped out the squad, the command squad out of the Chimera there. So the commander is inside the ravine here, and because that unit has a Voxcaster and that unit has a Voxcaster as well, I can cast orders up to 18 inches, so that's in range. So we've front ranked, second ranked those guys, and these guys down here have also hopped out of their vehicle as well. And what I can do as well, because they're Cadia, I can see if I can spill that order over. So we're going to give that a whirl and just see if that happens. So that happens on a 4+. Which it does. So these guys have also got front rank, second rank, so they're going to be firing an extra shot, which is pretty neat. Sorry about that, mate. Then, okay, so we've got Pask as well, so we're going to do some orders. So Pask has moved 5 inches up, bringing the Punisher cannon, probably thinking about the tactical squad that's inside those rock formations over there, but we'll see what happens. The Lehman Russ next to it is driving over the terrain piece there, bringing the battle cannon to bear on the Land Raider just up there, and again only 5-inch movement, and just for good measure I've given him Gunner's Kill on sight as well, and I've also given Gunner's Kill on sight thanks to a 4+ roll over onto this Lehman Russ over here, which again has moved 5 inches, and I'm looking at the Dreadnought on that one, and I'm hoping the Chimera here has just got enough punch to take out that Rhino with the last two hull points that are left. So that's the shooting plan. Lots of orders going on there, lots of orders spilling over onto other units as well, which is all really nice. So should line us up for a good shooting phase. Well, I mean, the classic thing that always happens with melt guns, he fluffed his shot, obviously a little bit too intimidating there, a little bit too scary having that Land Raider coming down at you. I even spent a command point re-rolling it and he still failed miserably to hit. His buddies with their las guns all fired at the Tech Priest on the Wolf there and didn't do any damage there either, unfortunately, so not quite so great. What else have we got down here? Well, the Chimera here fired at the Land Raider. I think it took a whole point off. So did this one down here. Again, probably took a whole point off somewhere on the line. We lost a couple on that turn. These guys all fired and didn't really do any damage, unfortunately. The melt gun, clearly the best weapon. They were out of range at this point in time. So the orders did work to an extent. Certainly the orders worked quite well down here. So again, tanks firing off turret weapons twice and re-rolling ones is certainly all good. So Pask and the Lehman Russ perched on the hill there, both fired at the Land Raider there, and you can see it's just down to 3 hull points now. So that got a pretty hard beating. And so did the unfortunate Dreadnought over here, who's just hanging on to life with 1 hull point remaining, thanks to 2 battle cannon rounds that really ruined his day quite badly, but not quite enough to kill him, and also not quite enough, unfortunately, to kill the Rhino. I was hoping that this Chimera down here would finish it off, but unfortunately those mortar lasers just not striking home with enough force to take off any hull points there. So the fight phase didn't quite go so well. I was hoping to charge this squad into the Land Raider there, basically just to tie it up really, get in combat. It means that Rich is obliged then to withdraw from combat and can't shoot. So that's a nice little tactic if you're into that kind of shenanigans. Unfortunately, I lost 2 guys to Overwatch, and then they failed their charge roll. So 2 guys died, essentially for nothing.
The Longfangs have stayed still. My Land Raider is badly damaged. It's only moved 3 inches. I'm going to be hitting on 5s as well. But the Terminators have got out, and they're looking at going into the front, Lehman Russ. So it's like an 8-inch charge when they get there. So I'm going to try and soften up the Lehman Russ with shots from the Land Raider. Iron Priest has moved up. He's going to shoot and then attack the Imperial Guard that are on that objective. Might be getting supporting fire from the Longfangs. I think probably the heavy bolters and the plasma gun and then the missile launchers and the las cannons probably be targeting some of the tanks down here. Rhino, that's got the squad in and Ulrich the Slayer. That's kind of gone up onto that objective and hidden itself around the back of the mountain. Dreadnought, not much options really. I can't move him anywhere to get him anywhere near assault, so he's had to move forward 6 and he's going to have to shoot now. Pask is the closest target, but I don't think I can see him with those rocks in the way, so I'm going to shoot the Lehman Russ instead, hopefully popping that. Some good shots from the Space Wolf gunners in this round. Hellfrost cannon from the Dreadnought, however, completely whiffed. I rolled a 1. And I'd already spent a command point re-rolling one of the shots from the Land Raider into the Lehman Russ down here. Here I have taken quite a lot of wounds off this guy. He's only got 5 left. That was shots from the Land Raider and las cannons and the crack missile from the Longfangs all the way up there at the back of the battlefield. Also, the Grey Hunters that are hunkered down here, these 2 guys took a shot through that gap. 1 hit, 1 wound, and John rolled a 1. So that's another wound from bolter fire. So the Terminators are going to hopefully make that into combat, killing them off. Hellfrost pistol down here, and the heavy bolter, and the plasma gun from the Longfang shot into the Astra Militarum squad down here and killed off 3 or 4 of them. So the Iron Priest will be going into combat down there, smashing them apart. Hopefully these Terminators will make it in, destroying this tank. There isn't much chance of my Iron Priest failing this charge, but I will roll it. He's in. He's most definitely in. So John is going to have to overwatch over there. So the melt gun first. Nope. Fail. Then all the las guns.
2 hits.
Oh, he's got 2 hits with the las guns. I'm toughness 5, John. What's the strength of your weapon?
3.
Whoa, he's going to need 5s to wound me.
Awesome.
Oh, wouldn't you know it? 2 5s. But there's no AP modifier on these. And this guy's a 2 up. So, here we go. Yeah, he's all good. So, he's most definitely into combat. Next to go are my Terminators. John, do you want to overwatch with your Lehman Russ?
I would love to.
You sure you don't want to think, actually, do you know what? I'll give it a miss today. So, John is now using Strategium Defensive Gunners. So, this is when a vehicle is declared or charged against, When that unit fires Overwatch in this phase, they hit on 5 or 6s instead of 6s. Cheeky little shenanigans going on there, John, with these new deck of cards.
Absolutely.
So here we go. This is going to be a volley of fire coming in, now hitting me on 5s. This should be fun.
Okay, so here's the heavy bolters.
And you get 2.
Okay, strength 5.
Toughness 4, because I'm normal marine, so you're wounding me on 3s. 1 wound. I don't know if you can see that, because the studio lights are quite bright, but I've got a wound, so there's no AP modifier. It's a heavy bolter,
Yes,
so it's -1, so it's a 3-up save. Alright, wait. Oh, no, it's fine. So there's a wound taken on the Terminators. They're 2 wounds each now.
Okay, then we've got the battle cannon.
Oh, fun times. Here we go. So this is where John has to roll 2d6. Rolls them at the same...
Ah, no, it's only in the shooting phase.
Oh, it's only in the shooting phase
So
you get
it's
to roll
just
2d6.
So it's
Ding.
3.
So he gets 3 dice. So these are the 3 shots from the battle cannon raining down onto the Terminators. 2 6s. Seriously, these Geeks dice are available on our web store. Seriously. Okay, so you got 2 6s then, John.
Yep.
So strength for the weapon.
Strength 8.
Blooming heck. Toughness 4, so 2s to wound me. 2 wounds.
Wounds.
So because of the storm shields, the Terminators are okay. 1 wound done off the heavy bolter. So here we go. This is an 8-inch charge. Yeah, he does it with a 10. So I've rolled the lightning claws. I've done with their rerolls. I've got 4 wounds on John's Lehman Russ. So John, you need to make 4 saves at -2. That's 1 damage. So I'm guessing that's going to be a 5-up save.
Certainly is.
John makes none of them, so there's 4 damage. He's got 1 wound remaining. The Wolf Pack leader and one of the other Terminators have Thunder Hammers as well, so I'm going to hit them with these now. So I'm hitting on 4s. Hitting on 4s. Only 2 hits, but you know what? That might be enough. Strength 8 now because of the ×2 against toughness 8, so it's 4s to wound. He gets 1 wound. John, you've got 1 6-up save to make. No, he doesn't. It's a flat 3 damage. That tank has gone boom. Does he blow up, John? Would you like to re-roll me a dice to see if you get a 6? No, he doesn't. It's just gone. Terminators then consolidated up into Pask, who got his chance to hit me. He did actually hit me on a 6 and then wounded me on a 6, but then I managed to save it using a command point. So I've got 2 remaining. We've still got the Iron Priest to resolve. That was quite cruel. Those Astra Militarum guys, I almost said Imperial Guard. Astra Militarum guys stood no chance against the Thunderhammer. Swung around the body of the rider, slamming hard into the faces of 2 Imperial Guard guys, killing them outright. And then the Wolf. The Wolf killed another 2 as well. So only little Jeff left alive with the melt gun on his own. I think there's going to have to be some kind of morale check going on, and I'm hoping that he's going to die.
Well, not a great turn there for the guard, and we should add that this little unit over here, it was impossible for him to pass his morale check, so he died, unfortunately. But I've got high hopes for this turn. Things might just be looking up in some respects, because here's a great example of orders hopefully working together really nicely. So Pask has backed up 5 inches and left combat, and then I've used the order Strike and Shroud. Strike and Shroud is an ability to use both your weapons and your smoke launcher in a turn, and it is possible for Pask to issue orders to himself. It was FAQ'd, so that's definitely a good tactic. I've rolled on a 4-up, and that ability is also spilled over to the Urban Camouflage Lehman Russ next to it. So if I need to pop the smoke launchers on that, then I will. Plan is that's moved up 5 inches as well, and I'm going to split the fire between the Dreadnought and the Terminators here. But I'm hoping that Pask plus the squad in front that have stepped out of the Chimera will be able to take down those Terminators, not least because the platoon commander is right here in the thick of it, dishing out orders. So he's given these guys front rank, second rank, so those las guns are going to be firing 3 times over in the shooting phase. And on a 4+, which I successfully did, these guys are also going to be firing, and they're within 12 inches of the Iron Priest, so they're going to be firing 3 times over as well. Plus you've got these Chimeras here that are all going to be shooting at the Iron Priest too. So I'm hoping to dish out a bit of damage. A successful round of shooting there, I may say. First of all, the Leman Russ here in the urban camouflage, that popped off the Dreadnought down here. Now, I did toy with splitting fire and firing some of the weapons at the Land Raider over there. And actually, in retrospect, I think I should have done that because the turret weapon alone was enough to take that down. Never mind. Then over here, Pask actually managed to destroy that Terminator squad on his own, leaving the guard squad in front there to fire into the Marines that are hiding out in those rock formations just over there. Didn't do any damage, unfortunately. The Chimera down here also did exactly the same thing and fired off over there as well, but again, no damage. Those rocks just keeping those guys safe. Down over on this side of the board, then what we've got here is these guys all firing into the Iron Priest over there, who's now down to 3 wounds thanks to the shooting from there, and all 3 of these Chimeras. So he's a tough little cookie, actually. He's done well. He's soaked up a lot of fire there.
The Long Fangs have stayed still. The Land Raider's moved up its whole 3 inches that it can now move. I was tempted to repair it with the Iron Priest, but he has headed up. He's going to go and smash the Chimera. Ulrich the Slayer and the Tactical Squad are out. Rhino holding on to that objective. Plan is, Ulrich and the Tactical guys are going to go into combat with the Guard Squad. Las Cannons from the Land Raider and the Long Fangs and the Crack Missile at Pask. Hopefully killing Pask off. And then leaving these guys into that. I'm fully aware that if these make it in and then wipe out that Imperial Guard squad and go into a tank, that tank will pull back and then they're free to be opened up at by everything else, so they're going to take a lot of casualties. So yeah, it's been a tough decision. I was going to look at taking them into the Leman Russ, but I've decided with the normal Guard squad, so we'll have to see how it goes, but let's go shoot some stuff first. The Land Raider has shot into Pask all the way back there. Heavy bolters and lance cannons doing a couple of wounds. Crack Missile missed. One of the lance cannons has wounded. Pask has got 4 wounds remaining. John has just failed his armour save, so I've got D6 damage, 4 and above, and Pask dies. It's a 5. Pask has gone. Does he blow up John? Would you like to roll me a dice to see if he gets a 6? No, he doesn't go boom, but that is Slay the Warlord. Rest of the shooting, Phase 3 Imperial Guard. Troopers have been pulled down from the fire from the Grey Hunters and Ulrich, and 1 Imperial Guard guy has been pulled down by the Hellfrost pistol all the way back there. So we're going to head into assault. The Iron Priests are going to make it into the Chimera, and then we've got a bit of a distance roll over here. So we will film that one on camera, but I'm going to do the Iron Priest first. John has just done the Overwatch. No damage done to the Grey Hunters. It is a 7-inch charge. I have got 1 command point remaining, just in case I do fail this. 7 inches. It's a... I'm going to spend my last command point. It's all good. It's a 10 inches. They are in. Ulrich the Slayer was a 12-inch charge. So I needed 11 with the close to 1 inch. I rolled an 11, so Ulrich the Slayer is going to go join the Grey Hunters in combat. The assault phase down here. Oh, wow. Lots and lots of damage down here. Ulrich managed to do 4 wounds and Johnny needed 6 ups. John rolled 3 6s. Unbelievable. So 1 guy died. But then the Grey Hunters smashed into them and ripped them apart. 3 guys are remaining. John cannot pass a morale check, so he's going to execute one of them and keep them in the fight. And then I think thing of the game, thing of the whole battle, the Iron Priest went into the Chimera, smashed it with his Thunderhammer and blew it up. And it did blow up. 1 Imperial Guard guy, Astra Militarum guy, died. And then John rolled a 6 on the D3 mortal wounds. And my Iron Priest only had 3 wounds remaining. So my Iron Priest is gone. Not a bad round at the moment. We're holding on to 2 objectives. The Longfangs might have to move down to secure me that one. John's got 1 objective at the moment. It's thinned out from the Space Wolves point of view, but then again, there isn't a fat lot left on John's side. He's got 3 Chimeras, 2 and a bit squads of guard, and 1 slightly damaged Leman Russ.
I laughed about the fact that my commissar, who was at the front of this Chimera, was going to execute one of the troops here to keep them in the fight. But actually, that's probably done me a bit of a disservice, actually, because I cannot shoot at these wolves down here now, which is a little bit annoying. So with that in mind, the Leman Russ behind it has moved around the rocks to hopefully finally eradicate that rhino from play. And my guard squad at the top there have stayed put because they have got line of sight into here, and so is that Chimera down there. I've moved a commissar back out the way, so she's now not in the appropriate distance to help these guys out. So we're not making the same mistakes again. A little bit unfortunate, actually, in some respects. Funny as I thought it might be initially. Over here, I really want this objective quite badly. Can you tell? I've used the Chimera there as a meat shield, basically, and then the rest of the squad behind it have just formed up, just using that as a mobile bit of cover, basically. The Chimera behind there is going to shoot at the Land Raider here. It's only got 3 hull points. That's tantalisingly close to taking that out. In terms of what I'm doing for orders, I've put 2 orders on the platoon command squad itself. First of all, we've got front rank, second rank, so they're going to get an extra shot with their las guns into that unit just up there. And I've also added bring it down as well, so they're going to be able to re-roll ones on the wound as well. So hopefully using that to their advantage to take out the squad that's just tucked away inside there nicely. The Chimera down here fired at the Land Raider and took off another wound, so it's still chipping away at that, which is good. As you probably would have expected, the Leman Russ over here has made light work of that rhino, and that has been totaled. Then we went on to the guard squad up here, and they've taken one of the Grey Hunters out of that little posse down. And then down here, unfortunately, well, again, as you probably would expect, the Guardsman did die, didn't do any damage outbound, and then brought it very quickly to the Space Wolves. It would have been a really ideal opportunity to do fire on my position, which is a stratagem where you can effectively call in an artillery strike with your dying breath as a guardsman. But unfortunately, it costs 3 command points, and I've only got 2 left.
The Land Raider moved up closer to the objective. I'm going to go 3 inches now, so it's a bit of a slow old trek up. Shot his last cans in his heavy bolters into the Chimera that was there, destroying it. It didn't blow up, unfortunately, because that would have been nice for the Imperial Guard squad. Sorry, Astra Militarum squad down there. Las cannons shot from the Long Fangs all the way down into the Leman Russ. Only 1 damage done. Really poor dice rolling. Bolt of fire from the Grey Hunters on this objective into this squad here. Killing off a couple, not many. Plasma pistol and Grey Hunters shot into them as well. Then went into combat with the other Chimera down here, only doing 2 wounds. Not a great deal of damage done there. A little bit annoying, a little bit frustrating as we head over to Jonathan's turn 5.
The Leman Russ split its fire between the Grey Hunters and Ulrich, and actually managed to kill, well, actually almost killed both of them. Ulrich was down to 1 wound by the time those shots had all finished, and then the plasma gunner up here in the command squad just finished him off. So that actually is Slay the Warlord. Just to explain what happened there as well in terms of combat, I withdrew the Chimera out of the way there so that we had the opportunity then to shoot. Obviously the Chimera itself couldn't shoot, but everything else around it did. Now down here, finally as well, the Land Raider's been taken out. So the melt gun in that squad there did the ultimate damage, and it was a couple of hull points just to take off there. So that's killed that as well, which is great. Now that leaves us sitting on that objective, and that objective. But of course we've got a Space Wolf turn to go yet.
Not much happened in the movement phase. The only thing that really happened is the Long Fangs stepped down off their cover to secure me that objective. They then opened fire. Well, the last cans opened fire at the Leman Russ all the way down there. No damage. Heavy bolter shot at the Chimera. No damage. Crack missile missed as well. The Grey Hunters shot at the Imperial Guard squad all the way down there on that objective. And John managed to save it. So absolutely nothing happened on my turn 5 apart from secure me a second objective. So we need to know, do we get a turn 6? 3 up. This game continues. It does not continue. So there we go then, guys. That is the end of the game. Tighten up the victory points. 3 for that objective for the Imperial Astra Militarum. 3, 6,
9. Plus Slay the Warlord for Uruk the Slayer. Plus First Blood, so they get 11. Space Wolves get Slay the Warlord for Pask. And 3 and 6. So it is 11-7 for the Astra Militarum.
So then guys, we're on to the post-game review. Wow, that was actually really good fun game. Should we start with the Astra Militarum? Imperial Guard.
Yeah,
for us older. So right, if you're over a certain age, these are Imperial Guard. If you're quite new to it, they are Astra Militarum. We will flip between the two names quite randomly because we're old, forgetful, and they're Imperial Guard.
You might be old.
I am old. Right, Astra Militarum, Imperial Guard. I'm damn good. I've got to say, I actually really enjoyed playing against them. This book is really good fun.
It's my favourite new book.
I've got it. It's the only new book you've owned, isn't it?
And Space Marines.
Okay, you're in the Space Marines one as well. But no, really good. The orders that you can give out are really good fun.
Tasty.
Really good. I like the one that you couldn't do because you didn't have the command points.
Oh, that is quite funny. Yeah, for a bit of theming there. Yeah, if you've got a Voxcaster and your unit gets wiped out, then you can call in basically an artillery strike. But it costs 3 command points. So I didn't have enough points in this game.
I love the fact that if you die in combat, with your last breath, you call out into the Vox of fire on my position, and then either an airstrike or an artillery barrage will just land on your position, and it's a 3-inch. I think it's a 3-inch bubble. We were saying.
Yeah, and mortal wounds. I can't remember how many mortal wounds, but some mortal wounds.
I think what it was. For every unit you roll the dice on a 4+, that unit gets D3 mortal wounds.
Yeah, something like that. It's bad.
But that also means that you can actually injure your own guys.
I would guard, I don't care.
I know you guard, and nobody cares about humans in this 41st millennium. But it just makes for a really cinematic moment of the game, and it's really good fun. I mean, admittedly, you couldn't do it, so that's your own silly fault for wasting your command points.
Yeah, I got a bit carried away with them.
You did a little bit, yeah. But yeah, that was really good, and it was really close game. It was about turn 3 when I think you took out my Dreadnought, and you didn't really do any damage or damage to my Land Raider. But it was just, I don't know. Oh, my blooming Iron Priest killing himself.
that was funny.
Blowing up a tank and then blowing yourself up with mortal wounds is quite painful, especially when he rolls a dice and does 3 mortal wounds when you only got 3 wounds left, so you're dead. And then you go, right, I'm going to roll mortal wounds on your Imperial Guard squad, and you do 1. So it was just a little bit. That was a little bit like, oh, blooming heck, here we go.
Joys of a dice-based game, mate.
I know it is, and that's it. But that was really good fun. I think both sides taken a hell of a lot of casualties. You've got Lehman Russ that's badly damaged. You've got a Chimera, 2 Chimeras left. You've got
it's not in a good way.
You got a couple of men left, and that's pretty much it.
With Imperial Guard, it's a victory. I'll take it. I've just sent some more troops in.
Well, yeah. I mean, that was brilliant fun. I do like this new Codex from the Space Force point of view. No Thunderwolf in there. No. Wolfen in there, so just a normal Space Wolf list. Land Raiders are tough, as we all know. It didn't die until like turn 4 or 5. Las Cannons are the way forward. My Long Fangs,
yes.
My Long Fangs, I think, were unit of the game for me. I think that them standing on top of that hill, having a nice clear view of the battlefield. Las Cannons doing the damage. I mean, in the first round of shooting, I did like 10 wounds with the 2 Las Cannons from that squad, and that is a lot. And then the Crack Missile finished the tank off. So yeah, that's quite good. Crack Missiles are good as well. Strength 8, -2, I think, -2 or 3, and then I think it's like D6 damage for the Crack Missile. Wow, tough. Las Cannons, awesome. So you get 4 on my Land Raider, and then obviously these 2 in the Long Fangs. Really good, nice, able to put down the damage. My Terminators did okay. They didn't do too bad. They destroyed
one of my Lehman Russes.
One of your Lehman Russes, and then was pulled down from last kind of fire from my Long Fangs, I think, or my Land Raider. It's what I don't want this to become in 8th edition is Las Cannon spam, and I'm sure it might get nerfed at some point by Games Workshop because Las Cannons at the moment are amazing. D6 damage is horrible. So if if you take a Spartan, so I know Spartan's 30k, but you can take a Relic Spartan in 40k. That has 8 Las Cannon shots. 8. That's a hell of a lot of wounds that you could take off in 1 round of shooting. That's a lot. So, anyway, I digress. But yeah, a really good fun game. I'm happy with how my Space Wolves performed today. I thought they did okay. Uric the Slayer, was alright. He didn't really do much. He's just a bit of a healer. He's just a bit of a priest. He doesn't really do anything. He could only do the you gain D3 wounds back at the end of the phase. He doesn't revive anybody like an apothecary does. So an apothecary, I don't know if you know the rules, John, but apothecary has two options. You can at the end of the movement phase, you can revive 3 wounds on somebody, so up to D3. So you can do up to 3. Or you can stand still, and if a unit has lost a miniature, a model on a 4+, you can bring him back with, I think, is it 1 wound remaining? Something like that. So if you've got a decent character, you can actually bring him back. And then you can heal him next turn. If he's still alive, you can heal him back up and up and up. So he doesn't have that last ability, but he's still pretty good. He hits quite hard. He did a bit of damage with his Crossius. He can kill Guardians quite easily. But yeah, I'll say it again, that was really good fun. That was probably the first game of 8th edition that I've absolutely loved playing.
Yeah, me too. Really enjoyed that.
I think a lot of the other games, it's a case of, I wish this was like this, or I wish this was like that. And there were a few things in 8th edition that I think need tweaking. Pulling out of combat. To me, pulling out of combat should have a risk attached to it. So...
Well, it does, because you can't shoot.
But that's nothing. Yeah, but on the grand scheme of things... If I've got a unit of 10 Marines and I'm in with your Imperial Guard squad and I go, and there's 20 of them, and I go, I'm just going to pull back. I'm just going to fall back from combat. It doesn't, from a player's point of view, there's no thought process involved. I'll pull back, I can shoot at the Imperial Guard squad. To me, you should pass a leadership test, you should roll a D6. On a roll of a 5+, they get to hit again. Or you suffer D3 mortal wounds, or there should be an element for the player to go, do I actually want to do this? Do I actually want to fall out of combat? There's a risk involved here. I could lose a couple of guys, I could get hit again, but at the moment it's just a case of, well, if I pull back, I can open fire. And it's, to me, that's missing a little bit, and I think there should always be a risk involved to make the player, make us guys go, do I want to do that? But that's my own personal opinion. I don't know what you guys think. I don't know if you agree or not. But yeah, that was good. I really enjoyed that for an 8th edition game.
We're bored now because we want to hear more about this.
Go on then. Tell them more about the Astra Militarum.
I love this. Grinding Advance is the best rule in the game by country miles.
Which one was Grinding Advance?
So all Lehman Russ variants.
Oh yeah.
If they move half their possible distance, can fire their turret weapons twice, which means you're spitting out battle cannons twice. D6 hits per battle cannon shot, so effectively 2d6. Punisher cannons are hilarious now, so that's a 20 shot weapon. Fire it twice, of course. There's 40 dice being chucked about. There's no penalty, even if it's a heavy weapon, for moving.
Is that just Lehman? Is that Lehman Russ variants as well?
Only Lehman Russ variants.
So you can only move half. So if you're a 10-inch move, you can only move 5. That's right. That's what we're doing in the game.
Yeah. So those two things alone are awesome. And it really shows, having played one game just with the Index and now playing one with the Codex, all of a sudden Lehman Russ just become way better.
Yeah, and you've got a lot of different Lehman Russ variants as well.
I'm a massive treadhead. You've obviously, if you haven't seen it, then go and have a look. And there's an army review when I get all the tanks out. I've got loads of tanks, loads of different variants.
Too many tanks.
Too many. Well, you can't have too many tanks.
There's too many tanks.
Especially not in this edition, I will say. So, again, Chimeras are just a thing, again, that they couldn't be before. Always loved this idea of Chimeras driving around the battlefield, troops pulling out the back of it, and it's a viable tactic.
Well, that's what the Imperial... That's what the
Astra says. Yeah.
Astra Militarum
Imperial Guard
would do. They would use the Chimeras to get on the battlefield, and they wouldn't come out of their armoured transports until the last minute, because they're squishy and they're flesh bags. They're going to go...
Yeah.
And so they'd stay inside the tanks as long as possible. As long as that tank was operational, it would be moving up the battlefield. And that feels now in 8th edition that is something that you can do.
Yeah.
Like you said before, in 7th edition they were free victory points. You could just go bang,
thank you,
bye bye.
Yeah, not so much anymore. That's great.
10 wounds. They're basically a rhino.
They're not quite as good as
Give or
rockets,
take, but wounds-wise...
They can spit out some damage as well. They've also got this lasgun array now, so if there's troops embarked inside the vehicle, then you can use those lasguns again, which is really good. They're not massively powerful, of course, but it gets a couple of extra shots to throw around, and that's great.
But again, it's cinematic.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's what they're on the vehicle there to do, right? You can see the little pintles, you can see the guns sticking outside, now you can actually use them.
Could you not use them in 7th?
In 7th you could, but it was based on troops being embarked in the vehicle kind of rule, so there was quite a penalty associated. I can't remember exactly. I've forgotten 7th already. I'm trying to learn 8th now. But yeah, there was a penalty associated with it, and it's a lot nicer now. It just makes a bit more sense. I love the mechanics of orders. I love the way that works. I love this idea of being able to pass orders around, which is a bit of a Cadia thing, which is quite nice. Yeah, it's all really good. A few units I'm really interested in now as well, having read the Codex briefly. Tech Priests, any kind of artillery looks interesting.
Basilisks.
So I'm really interested in getting a bit of feedback from you guys on what you run with Tech Priests and Basilisks and that kind of thing. I don't mind adding a few bits and pieces into the guard if it's gonna make a difference.
Well, I mean, if you were to add Tech Priests into your army and just had them running up behind your tanks, you can just repair them.
Well, absolutely. I mean, there is a stratagem for that as well. Actually, by the way, there's a jury rigged.
Yeah, I mean the Imperial Guard stratagems. I don't think did you use any stratagems in today's battle, or did you not? Or did you just carry on with your orders?
I used a lot of the orders, but I did use some of the stratagems as well to.
Was it from Ram?
That's orders.
Oh, is that orders? You probably didn't use any stratagems, to be quite honest.
I used my victory points somewhere. I forget now. Exactly
you just.
But there's loads of exciting stuff in there. And tell you what else looks interesting as well. You can turn your Death Strike missile launcher into a Vortex missile. Which looks quite entertaining.
What, like the old Vortex grenades from the old 2nd edition? So, right,
think Vortex grenade, and then think 10 times bigger, attached to a rocket. That's what you're looking at.
That's pretty good. If anybody remembers 2nd edition, which is when we came into this game, there used to be Vortex grenades that I think librarians used to carry, and you used
a bit of war gear. I think any character.
It might have been a bit of war gear actually, and you used to get a template with a bubble on the top, and it was all like lightning and stuff like that. And basically, if you went whee and it landed on a group, they just got pulled into the warp.
No ifs, no buts.
No ifs, no buts. Just gone. And that was always pretty cool. So to hear the word vortex, it sends a shiver down my spine for the amount of times I've lost models into the warp and they're still there somewhere floating around. But yes, a massive thank you as well to our friend John, who's up in Liverpool, who has donated or given the scenery that we've used today, all these new mountains that we've got. They are amazing. They add a different element to our battle reports as well, so cities and stuff we've got, and that's pretty cool. But we've been missing elements of mountains and stuff, so massive thank you to John.
Thanks very much for that. They're awesome.
Not that he's watching, but yeah,
he better be.
He won't be. But yeah, so massive thank you to him for supplying all these for us. They look fantastic, and they're good because there's some really nice line of sight blockers, which did both of us a negative on it, really, because we couldn't draw line of sight to each other. So thanks for watching, guys. Please leave us a comment. What do you think to Astra Militarum? Have you got the Codex? Have you played with them yet? What do you think? What do you think to the difference in the Space Wolves? Different site list, a bit more normal. But yeah, really good fun game. So please leave us a like. It does help out the channel. Why not subscribe if you haven't done so already? Don't forget to click that little notification icon so you never miss any of our content. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.